Hey guys, well, welcome back to the channel. Man, it feels like it's been a while, and it has. It's been like 3 weeks, but we are finally back, and I'm so happy to be able to say this, but welcome back to another Spy Family Sunday. So I feel like we can all agree that the last arc, albeit it was fantastic, I think the fandom as a whole is ready to move on to something a little more Forger family oriented and happy and peaceful, which this chapter gives in spades. So very excited to talk about this chapter. Please like, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content here. Make sure to leave me a comment because I do like discussing the chapters afterward. This chapter starts off with the Forgers. We are back with the Forger family. Anya is laying on the couch. She looks just completely bored out of her mind. She's rolling around on the ground. It's basically a lazy Sunday in the Forger household. It appears that Lloyd is coming home. Maybe he went out shopping or he was doing something. He's sitting at the couch with Anya and he's like, just because you're home from school break doesn't mean you just get to goof off. And so Anya's just looking really depressed and she's, I guess, studying or doing some kind of homework. In the background there, the TV is on and there's all kind of like uproar about this seal, this Nordic seal named Belle. She's been spotted in the river. Everybody's obsessed with her. She's cute. They're saying that she was separated from her pack during some kind of migration. And Anya's like, she's like, I want to go. And Lloyd's like, no, you have homework to do. And she's like, yeah, but I'll be doing my animal research project, so that counts. By this time, Lloyd is becoming more aware of Anya's trick. And he's like, stop trying to trick me. And you've got homework to do. And Lloyd is sort of questioning why all of the channels are covering this. Yor comes up and she's like, I think it's great that this is all we have to look at on the news. It means that we're in a peaceful time. In essence, she's like, it's peaceful, so I don't mind this type of news. Which I think, considering what this series is about, it is great that we're not hearing about tensions here and rising escalation and what's going on in the cabinet and, all that kind of stuff. So it's nice. And, Lloyd sort of, as he's turning the TV off, he's like, yeah, I guess you do have a point. And then you see Anya and Bond just laying on the ground and Anya's like, my childhood is over, because Anya's dramatic. Lloyd's thinking to himself, I don't have anything else to do today, we might as well go. He's like, we can go as long as you're doing research for your animal project. They go out to the main river. Everybody's sort of looking around, wondering where Belle is. They take Bond with them. Lloyd is saying, it's going to be hard to predict where Belle is. It's a giant river. She might not show until tomorrow. In the background, you see some people approaching, and it turns out to be Becky and Martha. What a coincidence. And so they're out on a walk, and Becky brings her dog, I think, what was his name? Weasel or Wheezy? Something like that. Really cute, like Yorkshire Terrier. So they're out on the walk as well, and they're like, hey, are you here to see Belle too? Anya tries to be all mature, and she's like, well, actually, I'm here to do research for my animal project. Becky notices that Lloyd is there, and she's like, oh my god, my precious Lloyd, and she's trying to calm down. She's like, all right, I'm not a homewrecker. And so she's like psyching herself down, basically. And Martha's just giving her this look, and she's like, young miss, address the Forgers, please. And so Becky and Anya are catching up, and Becky's like, hey, have you seen Belle yet? And she's like, no, we just got here. Bond and Weasel are, kind of sniffing each other. Bond's interested. He's blushing a little bit. It's really cute. I'm like, oh, the doggos can go and play. Becky's like, there's a TV network down there. Wouldn't it be cool to get on TV? And Anya's reading Lloyd's mind, and he's thinking to himself, I'm a spy. The last thing I need is to be seen on TV. What would that look like as far as like Eden Academy? And so he's pretty much discouraging that idea. He's like, I don't think we should bother them. We should just let them do their job. Anya sort of agrees. She's like, yeah, I'm only here to do my research, so, I don't have time to be distracted by trivial things. Now, that's not exactly what she says. I'm improvising, but it's basically the energy that she's giving. And Becky's like, oh, And so we pan down to these other people at the river. Like, everybody is there trying to get a glimpse of this seal. Becky's getting frustrated, and she's like, where's Belle? How come she hasn't shown herself? You've got a lot of nerve of, like, making all of us come down here. you don't even show yourself. Show yourself or I'll send a submarine into the river. Martha's sort of like pulling her back. She's like, war is a no-no, Miss Becky. Martha and Becky leave, and Bond looks a little bit sad because Weasel's leaving. And then Anya sort of looks up at Yor and she's like, why is Belle being so rude? Why isn't she showing herself to us? And Yor's just like, Belle has her own life. She'll come out when she feels like it. Anya's like, well, in the meantime, me and Bond are gonna go play. Lloyd's like, stay away from the riverbank. And we get this really, my favorite part of the chapter is we get this really nice moment between Yor and Lloyd. And they're sort of sitting on, I guess, the marsh of the river. And Lloyd is saying, to be honest, just sitting around is not something that I'm great at. And Yor is like, but don't you think it feels good every now and then? She's saying that it's good to just not think for a while and to just be and relax. And Lloyd starts to think about the time like early on in the series. They all went to that park and they were sort of just gazing out at the city, but he's reflecting on that. And Yor is saying, she's like, we've done this once before, right after we got married. You've always had wrinkles in your brow since then. And she's like, you should watch out for that. Lloyd is just like, and then you see this really nice panel of them just sitting there, not saying anything and just taking the moment in. And the thing I like most about this section of the chapter is the fact that I feel like Yor is gaining a lot of self-confidence, because if you, like everybody else here, we've been reading this series since the beginning, and Yor has always been just like very shy, avoids eye contact, doesn't really express how she feels. But in this chapter, she's like telling Lloyd, like, look, we don't have anything to worry about right now. The news is not talking about any doom and gloom scenario. We're just out here with Anya and Bond. And not only is Yor confident enough to express that, she's also telling Lloyd about himself. She's like, ever since that day, like, you've looked basically like frustrated. And so like she notices these things in Lloyd in their fake relationship, and she's like, I think it's also great to just relax and just be. And so I thought that was really cool. I think that's great character development for her, and we don't know where the next arc is going to go, but I feel like Yor is definitely going to start expressing her opinions and thoughts within the dynamic of this family. And so I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was really cool. And so Anya and Bond are playing, and Anya finds like this weird bug, and Bond is just happy to be there. They get up, and Lloyd's like, I guess she's not going to show up, so let's, we should just head home. Anya and Bond are still playing down at the riverbank where Lloyd said not to go, and they're behind some bushes, and then they notice that the seal has like poked its head out. And seals are really cute. They're basically water dogs. Anya's like, oh my god, it's Belle. And the seal is like, whoa, like, let me back up, what's going on? Lloyd is like, hey, I thought I told you not to play around the riverbank. And he sort of snatches Anya up, and she's like, Papa, the seal. And she's reading the seal's mind, which is cool because I remember at the beginning of the series where Anya said that reading animals' minds are difficult, but she doesn't seem to be having difficulty with that process right now. And so the seal is like, oh my god, humans are scary, they keep following me around, like, and Anya's like, Belle is scared of us. And Lloyd's like, well, she has been pursued by crowds for a week. And they're like, why don't we just, sit here quietly and, leave her be? And, the seal starts splashing around, and they're just watching her, and, Yor is saying like, oh, she's so cute. And Anya compares the seal to Bond. She's like, well, Belle is basically just a slick Bond. And Lloyd is like, you can make a better research observation than that. And so they're just sitting in silence and watching Belle, and, they're like, seals are lazy. And, Yor's like, or maybe she's lonely? And Anya's like, is Belle missing a person? And Lloyd is saying like, well, she got separated from her pack. Yor is like pointing in a different direction. She's like, Belle, the ocean is that way. The seal dives into the water, and then she swims up to the riverbank where they are and spits out a crawfish, and then like swims away. And all of them are like, a crawfish? Like, what is... So they're a little bit confused by that. Yor's like, was that her way of saying thank you? And Lloyd is like, what a smart creature. And then he sort of thinks about something that Sylvia said, and Sylvia's like, apparently some of the Project Apple research teams are still operating. So that makes me think, so was this seal actually separated from a pack? Did they separate the seal on purpose and then did research on the seal? So it sort of like plants these little theories going forward. Bond gets bit by the crawfish, and Anya's like, Bond got scissored. Lloyd takes the crawfish off his nose, and Anya's like, Belle's going home and I think I want to go home too. And Yor's like, sure, that sounds like a good idea, let's all go home. And Lloyd is telling Anya, like, make sure that when you get home you document all of this about Belle's behavior for your research project. And Lloyd is saying, when we get home, in order to fully understand Belle's behavior, he's like, I think I'll go ahead and doze off too. And he's telling Anya not to use her project as an excuse to be lazy. I'm guessing just because of her behavior earlier on in the chapter. So the chapter was really cute. I feel like we all needed this. We needed a break. We just needed to be around the Forgers and feel some kind of joy. So I'm definitely looking forward to the next chapter. Hopefully Endo decides to just dive straight into the next arc. What that arc is, I can't really predict. I mean, maybe the school break will be over, Anya goes back to class. Maybe we get a chance to further explore the shifting dynamics between her and Damien, especially now that she has told him about her secret, and I'm putting that in quotation marks because we don't know if he actually believes any of it yet. But that would be interesting. So yeah, that was my review of chapter 103 of Spy Family. Thank you for listening, and until next time, remember to be awesome and stay true.